Well, it is my pleasure to introduce to you John Browne Ayes, a Central Florida artist. And without delay, I want to jump right into this conversation, but also have an opportunity to show you his work. It's really incredible. But John, welcome to TV 31.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure having you here. And you are one of only a number of artists that's going to be exhibiting at the Moore Cultural Center at BCC Cocoa Campus. And if I may cheat here and look at my notes, it's the Florida Puerto Rico Art Connection 2, right?
Right.
Tell us what the Art Connection's all about.
Okay, the Art Connection was an inspiration I had in Ponce, Puerto Rico, while I was at the museum there. And I am the director of venue acquisition and curator for the Centro Cultural Puertorriqueña de Florida. And I had the idea and the inspiration to create a moving type show where we would exhibit from place to place and get people to know our art.
And tell me a little bit about the artists.
The artist, it ranges from surrealism all the way to expressionism. It's a mixed genre. It was my idea to put this together this way so it would be exciting for whoever views the work.
Yeah. Now, I know that before we went to air, you described this Art Connection as having historical significance. In what way is it historically significant?
Okay, the historical significance. On July 10th, all of the artists and artisans were certified by the Institute of Culture of San Juan in Puerto Rico. Generally, they certify artists and artisans in Puerto Rico only. So Margarita Rojas, the president of the Center of Culture here, worked with them, and a year later we were certified. This has never happened outside of Puerto Rico. It authenticates our art as being genuinely Puerto Rican, not made in Korea. Sorry for the Koreans.
No offense intended, right?
Right. And
well,
it's anthropologically categorized and cataloged.
Is there any description, and I know we cannot generalize, but is there anything that you can say or that comes to mind that, in your opinion, sort of defines Puerto Rican art?
Puerto Rican art is actually a conglomeration of the African, the Taino Indian, the Spanish, the French, and the Scottish and the Irish. All those people have influenced the island and their art.
You have just sparked my interest. I'm Scots-Irish, so I would love to see that in your art. And so are you. Well, fantastic. Well, Jeff Vogel has graciously gotten us our shots here, so let's go ahead and pull up some of your work. And I am so impressed with what I see here. Right now, of course, we're looking at this first one on my left. Tell us all about this work here, John.
That was inspired in the year 2002, and it ended up traveling Tampa from the City Hall, all libraries, medical centers, and it's a pretty famous painting. It won me Bust of Show at the Osceola Center for the Arts in Kissimmee.
And of course, this is Dolly here in the center?
Yes, it's an altar to Dolly, that's the title. And it has to do with the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere conceptualization of the world.
And of course, when I asked you how would you describe your work, immediately surreal in nature.
Right.
And you shared with me a moment ago before we went to air that surrealism is about waiting for the unexpected? Is that how you said it? What do you mean?
Well, you begin a painting and you're totally focused on that painting, and then you wait for an accidental to happen. And if you can focus on the wine bottle,
over here on this side,
you see the wine spurting up out of the bottle, which is totally surrealistic, dreamlike situation. But there's a tongue in there, lapping up the wine, and that was an accidental.
That was unintentional.
All I had to do was touch it up some to bring it out.
Well, let's move to the next piece down here, and I want to go ahead and tell our viewers what you shared with me. Two things I find very interesting. One, you're colorblind, correct?
Correct.
And John, you've also, since your early 40s, started to deal with hearing loss.
Yes.
And how do you do a work like this here at the end with so much vibrant color, being colorblind?
I work with the colors in monotone.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the yellow is straight yellow, and then I add highlights, and I neutralize the colors with black, gray, and it's all one color, okay? And then it's segments of one color. You see the brown is one color, the gray is one color, and the yellow is one color. But it fools you because there's an illusion of color.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're seeing many colors when I've only given you 3 or 4 colors.
Let me ask you a personal question. As you have started losing some of your hearing, have you noticed a change in your art? Did your visual sense
My
change?
visual perceptions have gotten sharper. Being colorblind, my visual perception is sharp. But if you can imagine a knife edge sharpness, well, I have a surgical visual sharpness. And I could see details within shadows and light. And I could see people who are photogenic.
Fascinating. Oh, I wish we had a whole show here, but I'm going to go ahead and let Jeff pull up this next painting we have, and then we want to quickly spotlight your pieces here on the table. But as Jeff is doing that, of course, to our viewers, you do not want to miss this exhibit. It is at the Moore Multicultural Center that is on the Cocoa campus of BCC. It's absolutely free of charge, isn't it, John?
Definitely.
Amazing that opportunity is there for us. A number of different artists, again, all of them certified, again, out of Puerto Rico.
Yes, the Institute of Culture.
And this is the first time anything like this has ever happened.
Yes.
Correct? Well, John, we so appreciate you being here. Your work is just remarkable. And since we're really out of time, but I want you to share just quickly, what is this piece, this small piece here on the table?
This concept is Atabe, Earth Mother. Earth Mother is spirit of the water also. And this is a beadwax maquette. After this is the first stage that goes into the bronze stage.
To our viewers, I apologize. I made that mess up. Jeff just had this painting here on the floor that we were looking at, and which one is that?
Again, this is the same theme, Atabe, Earth Mother rising. And it's indicative of the Taino culture awareness coming into play again.
John, will you be there to discuss your work at the Moore Cultural Center?
All 7 artists will be there.
Wonderful. Again, those dates, September 17th through October 1st. The opening, September 17th from 4 to 6 p.m. Artists will be there, of course. If you want any more information, give us a call here at TV 31. John, so nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Incredible work. I've really enjoyed seeing it. Stick close. We'll be right back after this break.
6 o'clock news.
Bay Area paramedic is getting state recognition tonight. David Hudak, a firefighter and paramedic for Seminole, is the state's paramedic of the year. He's credited with improving Pinellas' EMS system and the way it responds to hazardous materials calls. Hudak is not all work and no play, though. He's also a fire safety clown for Pinellas County youth.
Now research shows that you get better, quicker when you put your mind to it. Well, Lakeland Regional Medical Center is capitalizing on that idea with a new arts and medicine program, and Fox 13's Ken Suarez is going to introduce you tonight to an amazing artist. An artist there whose work may be helping people where pills stop.
I need a cough drop.
The cafeteria at Lakeland Regional Medical Center nourishes employees and patients' bodies. As they eat, John Browne hopes to nourish their souls with his art. Every Thursday, passers-by watch as John paints. He has quite a colorful portfolio and a secret you'd never guess.
I think he's very talented.
What if I told you he is completely and utterly colorblind?
Really? I would have... I'm amazed.
Since birth, John has only seen gray, so he had to figure out a system to identify color without seeing it.
It's taken me years to perfect this. A lot of frustration, a lot of anger, a lot of torn up canvases because I didn't get the colors right.
Eventually, John learned to recognize color using light and dark.
Yellow has a light gray tint to it for me. Blue has a darker tint, almost blackish, but it's a different kind of black.
Despite his seemingly insurmountable challenge, John was inspired to become an artist because of his grandfather, a muralist who saw color and injustice. John is a Taino Indian. The Tainos were living in Puerto Rico and throughout the Antilles back in the 1500s. Then the Spaniards arrived and enslaved them. In this painting, John has a message for their descendants.
It's asking you to look at greed, lust, and slavery, but it's not asking you to linger there.
Hopefully seeing John's work will help others who are sick move on too. He's part of a new program here to expose people to artists while they work.
It helps you be delighted, intrigued, inspired, hopeful, and all of those things help health.
For most people, being hospitalized is a dark time. Perhaps seeing John's work will help people strive for a brighter tomorrow, at a time when life seems pretty gray. In Lakeland, Ken Suarez, Fox 13 News.
All of that is very personal to John. A few years ago, he had cancer, and during chemotherapy, he says it was his art that kept him going and believing that he was going to make it, and he has.
We have
To register for the School of Government, call 407-518-2354 or log on to www.kissimmee.org.
Welcome back. For this week's Inside Kissimmee, I recently sat down with John Ayas and talked about an exciting artist display he's putting together later this month for Kissimmee City Hall. Hi, I'm here with John Ayas of the Floridian-Puerto Rican Connection. Hi, John.
Hi.
What is the connection all about?
Connection's about 5 artists, okay, and who happen to be Puerto Rican, and creating art in Florida. And we try to depict the culture of Puerto Rico. It's Maury Diaz, Obed Gomez, Tanya Levy, and Zila Foret.
Now, all of you will be depicting your artwork at an event coming up here at City Hall, July 16th.
Yeah.
Tell us about that event.
Okay, the event's going to be held here 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock. There are going to be refreshments. All of it's free. And we're going to interact with the public.
Now, speaking of interacting with the public, tell us a little bit about the type of artwork that we might see July 16th.
Okay, Obed Gomez does powerful, culturally oriented art. Amori Diaz does landscapes, popular cultural scenes. Zila Farid does representational freestyle art. Tanya Levy does abstract and realistic.
Now, tell us about this painting you brought with you as a sample of what we might see.
Okay, this is the Taino Indian who met and greeted Columbus. Spanish influence, which is also influence in Florida. So there's a connection there between Florida and Puerto Rico. The folkloric dances of Carolina, folkloric dances of Loíza, Puerto Rico, the 2 great musical masters who are deceased, Celia Cruz and Tito Puente. And this is the musical instrument called the cuatro, and this is the timbale for the plena, and this is the guido.
Now, you were telling me before we started today that the artwork will be for sale?
Yes.
There'll be an opportunity for people to buy the artwork they see?
We're going to have prints available, and of course they'll be able to look at the originals.
Great. Now, what's the goal of the event? What do you hope to achieve?
The event is to have everybody come here, gain the artist notoriety, and to also advertise the Center of Culture of Puerto Rican influence in Orlando.
And get out the word about the Puerto Rican culture to our community.
Yes.
Well, John, thank you so much for spending time with us today. We look forward to the event July 16th, 5 to 7 o'clock here at City Hall.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We'll be back after these messages.